AStarStruckPodcast, back at it in the building with one of my favorite young ladies as a player and as a person, Mrs. Hannah Hidalgo. Now, let me give you a few things about this young lady because it's just a phenomenal thing when you think about her, you watch her. She's just a phenomenal player and a person. She was the high school Gatorade Player of the Year from New Jersey. She's McDonald's All-American, co-MVP along the side of Juju Watkins. She broke the record in the McDonald's All-American game with 26 points, still standing. USA basketball 3-time gold medalist, 2-time first-team All-American, ACC Player of the Year, ACC Defensive Player of the Year, ACC Rookie of the Year, ACC Tournament MVP after winning the championship. She's won the Don Staley Award, and she is USA's Basketball Female Athlete of the Year. And guess what? I have the pleasure of coaching her every single day.
Every day.
Mrs. Hannah Hidalgo, thank you for blessing the mic and coming to bless our spot.
Yeah, it only makes sense to be here.
Yes. Yes. How's everything going?
Good. School, basketball, it's really all it is right now.
Yep.
No more time off.
No more time off?
None.
Yeah. So tell me how is school? I mean, I know you are 3 years in it now.
I know.
So.
I feel like now I'm starting to settle in. I feel like the third year is when you actually get to settle in. You know how everything runs. You get to pick your classes. So school's has really been smooth sailing right now.
Been smooth. I know I talk to a lot of different people that come on Notre Dame's campus, and we always talk about the peace and the calm that it has when you step on campus. And I don't know, just kind of speak to that because it was very different for me. Yeah. And when I stepped on campus, I'm like, this is a great place to be, and you can tell. Absolutely.
I agree. I feel like being here, when I'm on campus, I feel like a regular person. Don't nobody, they'll know. They know I hoop. They know I play basketball. They know Hannah Hidalgo. But it's like I'm walking through classes. I'm not being a pro. It's like, can I take a picture? They might look and smile and stuff like that, but it's just it's so chill. Unlike if I were to go out a Target or something like that, ask for pictures and autographs. So I agree.
Of course. Well, I'll tell you what, you have really earned it, and we're gonna get into some stuff. But first, what I want to talk to you about is just from the beginning. I mean, obviously you're from New Jersey, hard nosed. Just tell me a little bit about your upbringing and what it took to get out of New Jersey and become the player and the person that you are.
Yeah, I think my upbringing is the best foundation that I could have. Just parents and family that care for me. They care for not only my basketball but my well-being, academics, how I am mentally, things like that. And they push me to be the best. My brothers were always in the gym. We got a half court in our backyard that was pushing me on the floor, scraping knees, busting nose, lips. It was and most of the time I was probably the one doing it to them, stuff like that. But it was that grit, and I think it really kind of laid that, put that chip on my shoulder, that I kind of play with today, just having that, playing against them all the time. And my brother's 6'4", and it's you got to play one-on-one. My dad had us play one-on-one full court. And it's why are we doing this? But
full court?
Full court. It's full court this way, side to side. So it's little things like that put you in unrealistic situations. You got to figure it out.
Yes.
And so it just helped me become the person, the player I am today.
For sure. And then obviously becoming one of the highest top recruits in high school. What was that like? How did you handle that? I know hard work leads to success. Absolutely. For sure. But when it came, was it a surprise? Was it a shock? How did you feel?
It wasn't a shock at all because it's I know the work I put in, and it just took for me being at the right program, and it just took me trusting in God for people to actually see it, because it wasn't I just got this out of nowhere and all of a sudden I'm just it's hours and late nights that nobody's seen, and now it's I'm being put on the stage. God put me in this place to where all eyes are watching, and I was wait, okay, who is this little girl? Who is this girl that's doing it consistently, 5'6", 5'7", and she's being up on these girls 6 foot, 6'1", so it's it wasn't a shock to me, and it was just waiting my turn, just all trusting in God's plan was the biggest thing for me.
For sure. And all while this was happening, were you ever how can I put it? Were you ever scared to take the leap to college?
No, heck no. I was
scared.
ready.
Might be the wrong word.
No.
I'm sorry. This is Hannah Hidalgo. I am sorry. I'm with her every day. She ain't never scared of nothing. But
Look.
I mean, I would say just felt like the challenge maybe overwhelming a little bit, or
you know what? Like going in at first, it was like I'm gonna go play with the top of the top, and then it's like, in a split second something changed. So it was like, whoa, now I gotta take on a completely different role. I gotta bring the Notre Dame I'm watching. They ranked at the moment like top 8, top 10. They ranked 8th, and I'm like, I gotta bring these girls on my back as a freshman, as a point guard. Now I gotta go be a point guard and lead a team. It's like, and then first game out we playing South Carolina, the national champions. It's like, what are we doing? It's like so it was like that, a little nervous at that, but then being here and actually being on campus in the summer, during the summertime, playing with the girls, playing against the men, hearing Coach Ivey and kind of hearing that reassurance not only from her but from my teammates. So it was like, I could do this. Like, I put in the work. The hours people didn't see, I put in the work. Now it's time for me to go out and lay it on the floor.
Talk about that South Carolina game. Like when you first got on the floor, I mean, you had an outstanding game individually, and obviously we didn't get the result that we wanted. But, absolutely. Just being in that space, how was that for you?
Yeah, I think it just even started from before I actually stepped on the court. I'm obviously, I'm a woman of faith, so I keep my faith first. And so for that, it was a lot of, like, Lord, give me peace for this game. It's my first ever collegiate game. It's like, a lot of people be like, going crazy, first game was like, I gotta prove something, I got something to prove and things like that, but it's just like, Lord, just help me to go on, just play the game that you instilled in me, help me to have that trust in you. And so once I stepped in the court, all my nerves were gone, and in my mind, I'm thinking, I don't really know what's about to happen, but all I know is these girls about to be shocked. Like, I'm about to be diving on the floor for any ball, get steals. I'm gonna out hustle these girls, and I'm out working. So it was a pretty decent game. Of course, we didn't have the results we wanted, but of course, it really set the stage. And it's like, okay, if I could do it, because a lot of girls will do it in high school, and when they get to college, it's like they fall off. So it's like, did it in high school, and I'm doing it against the number 1 ranked team, in the country. So it's like, I could do this
for sure. I was going to talk to you about, because it led to that moment as well. Like, that wasn't your first moment in the lights. I had the pleasure of watching you win the gold medal in the USA games when you're coming before. So just leading up into that moment, that atmosphere was crazy. I remember watching it on YouTube. Against Spain. Yeah. That was outstanding. Yes. Talk a little bit about that. I know we talked about it a little. You talked about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that moment was something I have never experienced in my life. I mean, we're playing against Spain in Spain. So you got all the Spanish fans around. I mean, and it was crazy. It was an arena packed, like an NBA arena, and it was fans on both sides. Everywhere you looked, there was fans. And you didn't understand what they were saying, but all you knew is that they were cheering against you. This is like they're screaming, it's loud, the atmosphere is crazy. And Spain was playing some of the best basketball that I've seen. Just the way, overseas basketball is a little different. The way they move the ball, the way they hustle, they're gritty, play with a little chip on their shoulder too. So, playing against them in that atmosphere was something unlike anything else. But it's like, once you step on the floors, I was ready to go. Like, and at that point I was coming off the bench too, and it's like at USA you got to be able to take on different roles. So that was my role, coming off the bench and being that spark coming off the bench. So it's like, I knew when I stepped on that floor, I was about to give Spain problems. Definite.
One of the things I admire about you, obviously, my history from a basketball player, and from the mentality standpoint, what I try to talk to you and instill in all the players on our team, but you especially, just because of your talent level, being next level talent. So I wanted to ask you this about the space that you need to get into as a real deal performer, and killer, and be ready to get in that beast mode. And I've seen it, I've watched it, I've seen you do it on several occasions. And I've tried to explain it to people, because people that has never really, experienced it, they don't really know. But I can look at you sometime, Hannah, and I can say, Hannah, you got to get in that zone. 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 and you will be in a space like this, and then you'll have to kind of get out of it and look at me and be like, okay, what, coach?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's that feel, and I definitely have experienced it before, but I want you to talk. How do you get to that moment?
Yeah, like, it's just I feel like being a competitor, and, I'm still working on that mental side of things, because it's like I've always just been like, just play and just, young. I didn't know how to handle my emotions, and now definitely not only handling my emotions, but the emotions of my teammates, being a leader, and being able to take on not only mine, but theirs too. But, it's that next play mentality. When I feel like I'm getting to a space where it's like I'm in my head, it's like selfish of me to have to stay, selfish of me to stay in my head, because it's like my team needs me. My team is looking to me to lead them to the next play, and I can't be focused on that missed free throw I just had, or, that missed layup. It's like, okay, I got to get back into the game, back into that mentality. So it's like, just stepping, and then it's a switch. Off the court, I could be like laughing, goofing, dancing, just having a great old time. And then it's like, once you step on the court, I've always told, people that interview me, it's like, when I step on the court, 3-letter word, I'm ready to kill. Anything that's in my way, anything that's stopping me from getting that victory, it's like, I'm running them over. So it's just that switch, and I think it just comes with being a competitor. It's like putting yourself in those situations, those moments where anybody that's stopping you got to run through them.
Absolutely. Is there anything that you do from a ritual standpoint? Like, do you have, I have to wear the same socks, I have to wear the same headband, or?
No, I got to pray before every game.
You have to pray.
And typically, like, I'll go before every game, sit at half court, and I'm just butterfly, stretching, but I'm just praying, before every game. And, of course, I pray with my parents before every game, but that's what really gets me. Some people like to listen to upbeat music, and they gotta get loose. But I think for me to get to that dog, you see like how I act crazy like on the court. It's like I gotta come to peace first, off the court before I'm able to step on the court and be who I am.
Absolutely. We were in Paris playing before we played South Carolina, and I walked down to the lobby, and obviously that's the first time that we were in the war together, really. And I walked down and I seen you and your parents in the lobby, like actually kneeling and praying together. And I looked over at my wife. I said, that is incredible. That young lady is going to do some amazing things. And just, talking to mom and dad, it's the same way. Like they're such a, high spirituality type people that it just turns you into just a great young woman.
Absolutely.
And I love it.
It's like you just have to have a good foundation, especially with the world around you.
What I love about that is just the maturity aspect of it, because maybe a year or two ago, Hannah Hidalgo wouldn't have made that statement, but now I see you every single day evolving into different in different areas that are becoming very prevalent to our team, to the people that's around. I don't know. I love to see it. So I commend you for that. And you, like you're saying, it's nothing that you can't do without God.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. So the transition into college, now that you step foot on Notre Dame's campus, it's time to play. What was some of the things that were challenging, and what were some of the things that came easy for you?
I think, obviously the thing that came easy was just the basketball piece. I was hooping when I first got here. It was just like, okay, it's just basketball. Maybe a little faster, a little more aggressive, but you still got to put the ball in the hoop. You still got to lock down on defense. It's really the same. I think the harder piece was like, the intangible things, being a leader. As a freshman, I had no idea what that means, because the way I led my team in high school is a little different than how I have to lead the team, in college, because I didn't understand that there are different personalities, and you have to, go to somebody differently than you would go to. Like, some person might be able to be like, yo, you got to do this, and that. Like, you need to get yourself together. And then the next person, they'll shut down. And now they're not playing their game. So it's like being able to embrace that. And my freshman year, I didn't have it. I didn't learn it. I still didn't know it. And now, seeing how I was led before, it's like, okay, I know what it takes to be a leader. I know how I should be approaching my teammates. I know how I was approached, before with people I was under, and I need to figure out how I need to approach, my teammates now. So, that's something I'm figuring out. And I think it's not just on the court. It doesn't start on the court. With your teammates, it starts off the court. Just being vocal. It's like going out to lunch, doing those other things, because it's like when you're playing with people that care about you, it's like you can yell at me, I can yell at you, and I'm not gonna take it personal because I know you have my best interest at heart, and I think it starts from way before the court.
You have never heard anyone come in and actually guarantee a bucket off the bounce from half court. H3 energetic CMOS, that's what does it, dog. Alright, don't try this at home and don't say I didn't tell you. Y'all know me. Off the bounce! Oh! And that's also transitioning into an adult. Mm-hmm. That's something that's going to happen outside of basketball, outside of Notre Dame, just dealing with people.
Absolutely.
And the guidance that it takes for you to be, positive and focused and understand, in your environment.
Absolutely.
Because,
100%.
Communication is big. So, transitioning into Notre Dame, how was the coaching staff? Because obviously it's different from high school to college, from a coaching standpoint. And, we love the heck out of Coach Ivey.
Absolutely.
So, just kind of speak on that relationship and how that happened.
Yeah, growing up, I was always coaching my dad. With middle school, elementary, all the way to high school, it was always my dad. He was my trainer too. So, but then when you get to the college level, it's a little different because, that's, she's not my family by blood. So,
right.
It's a little different, I feel like. But my dad was so hard on me, like, growing up, because he was like, some people think, daddy ball, they gonna let the kid do whatever they want to do. But, my dad was hard on me. It was like, I make a mistake. If he was looking at me, I make a mistake. Not everybody got to run. Well, she just made the same mistake, and she get a little slap on the wrist, and it's like, well, dang, why am I not getting the same treatment? So, I feel like with Coach Ivey, it was just, it meant so much to me the way that she coached, because I was always told in the recruitment process, she's a player's coach first. Like, a lot of coaches, they might not have that connection with their players off the court. You only see them on the court, they'll coach you, they go home. I've heard so many stories about that where their coaches don't have that relationship, and a lot of players need that. And, Coach Ivey, she knows what it's like to be a player, and so she's able to connect with each and every one of us, individually. She's able to yell at me here on the court and then pull me to the side and be like, kind of talk me through. And that's just what I need personally. That's what I, and that's kind of what she gives me. And she's just able to understand, each player individually. So, appreciate her.
Yes. Do you guys ever have any, just disagreements where, not actually verbal disagreements, but maybe you want to do something that she doesn't, and she wants to do something that you don't? Like, how do you guys handle that? Because it comes along with the game, basketball.
Absolutely. I feel like,
how do y'all handle it?
Yeah, I think just that communication piece. If it's like, Coach Ivey was a point guard, so it's like,
yes,
I see things, and then she sees it too, because it's not like I'm being coached by a big coach, and it's like, I can't give her the ball, she running, like stuff like that. And so we kind of understand each other, on that side. But I feel like if there's, I'm on the floor, so if it's ever like, okay, I see this, she might be calling a different play, I'm like, no, I need to get this girl the ball, so I'm gonna call something different. And it's like, the players around me, we're on the court, we're in the, she's in the fire, you guys are in the fire too, but it's like, we're in between those four lines, so it's a little different. So, and if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, I'm like, my fault, Coach Ivey, I saw this, and she, she's like, I understand, but this was, a better decision. So things like that, just that communication piece after the play.
Yes, for sure. The reason why I love to hear Hannah Hidalgo talk about that is because you have so many young ladies that's watching that wants to go to the next level. And we love to give that type of information, that type of confidence, just to hear what it's really like, because not everyone knows what it takes to become a college athlete, a pro athlete, heck, a high school athlete. But it's just good to have you on to talk a little bit about that, talking to the youth.
Yeah, I think it's so important, especially as a point guard. I can only speak from point guard perspective is to have that communication. You know, I feel like a lot of coaches, when they're looking for point guards, they're looking for an extension of them on the court. You know, when they're on the court, who's going to be able to know all the plays, know where each player is supposed to be, being able to uplift, you know, the players that they're playing with. I think as a point guard, it's so vital and important that you have that communication piece, not only with, you know, your coach. That's important too. You got to know what she's thinking too, but with your teammates also. When
you play for your dad, was he pushing you as a point guard or a two, or you know, score? Was it pass first? Like, how was he really coaching you, and what information was he giving you?
Yeah, I think for my dad, it was just like, make the right play.
Yes.
You know, and it was a little different because I wasn't the one. When my dad was coaching me, he wanted me to play the two. He needed me to be more of a scorer, which I wasn't used to because my first 2 years, I think it was during COVID time, and I was only the point guard. I only handled the ball, score when I needed to, but, you know, typically get everybody else involved. And it's like, okay, in order for us to win, you got to score because you're the best scorer in the country. So it's like, you got to be able to score. So, but I think the biggest thing for him was just like make the right play. And I didn't really know how to be a leader. The only way I knew how to be a leader was to push my teammates, like talk trash. You know, look, I'm about to cook you. You're not about to cook me, or like, you know, it'd be great. That's the only way I knew how to lead. And you know, the people that I was playing against, like I was playing with, that was good. Like that helped them. Like they would say, like, yo, Hannah, she be pushing me, like, you know, she really makes me better just because. And that was just me being me. I didn't mean I know how to be a leader, but you know, it's a little different now.
But see, communication, that's communication. I talk to you guys a lot about how it's important to learn how to communicate with your teammate, no matter what. If it's the big, it's the other guard.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So just to hear you say that, you had a lot of the qualities already. You just had to fine tune them and just kind of
different. Yeah.
Get some information from some people, get some experience. But no, I commend you for, you know, making that jump, as well as Pops really. You know, we talk a lot too, and we talk about some of the things that I always commend him on, how he brought you guys up and instilled that dog in you.
Yeah.
He's coached by the grace of God. I'm like, man, I know you was in the lab, going crazy too.
Yeah, sure was. You'll say the grace of God, but it was a little bit of crazy too.
So we have a theme here. It's a Starstruck podcast, and you know, the wordplay on it is, you know, a star being struck by something that's, you know, allowing you to overcome it or be resilient to get out. And as a platform, a lot of people come to watch so that they can kind of get ideas and, you know, just feel out the way people are dealing with things. You know, we very big on mental health, and we'll get into that. But just what do you have a starstruck moment where you had to really overcome something that you want to share?
Yeah, I feel like, I think most freshmen coming into college kind of have to experience that separation from their family, you know, and especially I feel like for me, you know, I was always under my family. It was like, go to school, go to the gym, go home. I'm with my family in the gym, I'm with my family at home, we're going out. It's like, I'm always up under them. And so just having to come into my own person, you know, being away from home was something different. It's nothing I've ever experienced, you know, living 18 years at home. So it was that was different. And it's like, you got to figure it out, you know, yourself. You don't have your parents here anymore to, you know, walk you through and hold your hand. It's like, you got to make sure you're going to class on time, you're turning your work. And then on top of that, being a collegiate athlete, it's like, you still got to be able to put the hours in the gym, not only just in practice, but making sure you're working on your craft too. And I think all of that was just hard, just being a freshman and, you know, just becoming into like a woman, into, you know, a collegiate athlete. And it took some time to figure out. It took me like 2 years. I'm still trying to figure it out, you know, right now, just with even the school piece. But I think that was probably the biggest thing. And just coming in as a top athlete, being top recruited, and having to take on, you know, Notre Dame and kind of bringing them under my wing and trying to figure everybody out and not knowing how to do that, you know. But I think I had a great support system around me, even though I might not have knew it at the time, you know, just with my teammates, my coaches, my family, just great people around me that really helped me become who I am.
And even when you say that it's still tough and you're still developing right now, I can understand that.
Absolutely.
I see it every day, and I know not only in you, but all players. That's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, everybody. We're growing people still. You know, there's still so much to learn. Nobody ever knows everything, and so just having that open mindset of being able to take feedback, receive it, you know, and learn from it, grow from it.
For sure. Did that ever take you to any like dark places? I don't want to use the word depression, but you know, just a place where, man, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to climb out of this.
I think like a state of like confusion. It's just like that uncertainty. You just don't know. You know, like what's next, and you're trying to figure it out. It's like, what do I do? Like, where do I go? And I think again, we keep talking about that foundation is just so important, because it's like you always have something to fall back into, fall back on when you have a solid foundation. I think it's always, for me, it was good to get away from social media too. It's like, I don't know what to do, and then social media just being that extra distraction that I just didn't need at the moment. And just, I always, every year, I'll take like a month or something and just get away from social media, just all that.
Like fast.
The fasting, yeah.
Fasting is good.
It is.
So many
it's very
different
good.
spots. Yes.
It's very good. It helps me all the time.
Well, that's good. I was going to ask you that too. How instrumental was like Coach Ivey and the coaching staff and just the supporting staff at Notre Dame with that when you were in that space?
They're so like, you know, understanding. And it's like the thing that I love with Coach Ivey and, you know, the coaching staff is just like, they know when you're off because they built that relationship with you. So if I'm loud, I'm coming to the gym, I'm cheering, like that's who I am. And then one day I'm just quiet. I don't want to talk. I don't want to dance. I'm not laughing. It's like something's wrong with Hannah, you know. And you just know because you built that relationship with me. And, you know, they were always there and they understood. It was like, okay, Coach Ivey, she took time to like say, she knew I was in a slump. Would take time, like, give me that encouragement before every game. And it was just so important for me. Like, I needed it. You know, I just needed that encouragement, especially from my head coach, to be like, yo, you know who you are. Like, you know what type of player you are. You know what you've done. Like, go out there, just play your game, play free, play loose. And it's like, all right, like, I got you, Coach Ivey. Anytime, like, I'm down, I'm in my head, Coach Ivey always tell me, like, yo, just look at me. Like, I got you. Come over to me. She would call me over. And, like, a lot of people just don't understand. Like, that's so important. And, like, with everything going on around you, just having that relationship with your head coach is different from anything else. Of course.
And I see it firsthand. With you guys' relationship. It's unique. It's very unique.
Absolutely.
With the with the dark place and coming out of it, you know, I like to see you on the other side of it, because I've watched you. You know, I used to talk to you a little bit about after you miss a shot, like you got to have the next play mentality, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. We done talked about it. But to see you come out of things this year, and last year, it was very, I don't know, just eye-opening. I liked it because I watched you, you know, from the beginning. And now that you're in a position of super-duper leadership, going into your junior year, you know, I know that there's some big things coming with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, even still working on that mental piece of that next play mentality. Again, just not being selfish and only worrying about myself. You know, I got 4 other players that's playing with me. I need to figure out to get out of my head and make sure if I'm not doing well, I got to make sure I'm able to trust my teammates that they're going to pick me up and, you know, help me. Or if they're not doing well, being able to pick them up too. But that next play mentality, freshman year I didn't have it. And any years before that I definitely didn't have it. But like still figuring it out and learning more. And, you know, now my temper is shorter now. So, like, I might be mad in the moment. All right, next play. I'm back on defense. I'm going to get a steal. I'm going to get a stop. And we running, you know, things like that.
You're recognizing. That's,
absolutely.
You know, just recognizing. That's good. That's good. So even when you started when you got on campus and you got with our team and the leadership role became more, you know, prevalent, like I see that this is where she's headed, and then the accolades come. I always tell people your statistics because, you know, not just because I coach you and you're with us, it's more of, you know, how incredible it was to have poise at that age as a freshman coming in, leading to where you are. I want to say this for the players and the, you know, coaches that's watching. What did it look like for you on a daily basis thinking about how you were going to attack this big picture? You know what I mean? This big Notre Dame picture. You know, obviously you have dreams and aspirations to go above and beyond this, but I'm a young kid and I'm watching you, and I want to hear what Hannah Hidalgo has to say about how to attack it. Yeah, how do you attack this?
I think for me, the biggest thing was just taking it day by day, you know, and not worried about, okay, what's it gonna look like next month? Are we gonna make the playoffs? Are we gonna make it to the Final Four? It's like being present where your feet are is so important, because when I started focusing on the unknown and what's ahead, it's like, you know, I don't know. So now it makes me anxious, and now I'm not able to focus on where I'm at right now. And, you know, if I'm not present mentally, it's like I can't help my teammates, you know, around me. And I think for me, it was a lot of journaling daily, you know, and calling my parents, you know, giving that reassurance. But I think for me, the biggest thing was being present where I'm at now, making today better than it was yesterday, making today's practice better than it was yesterday, diving on the floor, you know, things like that, or making someone smile, you know, just being, you know, the person I am, you know, every day, you know. Of course.
How about the social life on campus? Do you talk to a lot of different people? Is it athletes? Is it just regular students? Like, do you have a lot of friends in both areas?
No, I wouldn't say me so much. I feel like I'm a little more on the introverted side when it comes to that. You know, like, it seems like I'm outgoing, like on the court. When I'm in comfortable, you know, areas, I'm outgoing. And I'm learning to become, you know, more talkative and, you know, talking to people more. But it's like I'm not about to go on my way and, you know, start talking to everybody. Yeah. But, you know, the people on campus are so kind. You know, like, they're always smiling at you, talking to you. You know, a lot. We're really close with different sports. You know, whether that's volleyball, soccer, football, basketball. You know, we're close with them. So we typically stay in, you know, the little athletes world. But it's important to have friends and people that are outside your sport. If it's another sport, or if it's somebody that doesn't play a sport at all, and it's just, you know, in school, it's so important to have those connections. Not just because, for one, I think you're with your sport for hours and hours out of the day. Like, I'm about to go with them right now. It's like you're with them every day for so long, and it's like it can burn you out if you're only with them all the time. It's like you have to have people outside of that just so you're not burnt out, because it's a long season. But also just the connection piece, you know. Some of these people are going to go be CEOs, you know, and in the politics, you know, just great. They're just great people to have around you, and it'll help open different doors. If you don't want to play sport after this, if this is like it, it's so important to be able to have those connections that, you know, you make. I think connections are one of the most important things in life, you know, because it's you know, everything, all the physical could be taken away. Money, clothes, shoes, cars, it can all be taken away like that. But it's like the connections you build could last a lifetime.
Absolutely. What was one of the the games that you had circled on your calendar that you could not wait to compete in?
I had a couple games stuck on my calendar.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
What, top three? I'll give you my top three.
Yeah, I had give me a top three.
USC, one, of course. I think UConn always. Just because that's the rivalry. And Texas, because my best friend is on Texas, so it's like we always talk smack. So it's like, look, my team about to cook you this year, and she like, y'all not about to beat us. I said, okay, better watch. So those are my top three.
Right. So when you're approaching those particular games, like, I mean, obviously I was right there with you, so it's a high level of intensity.
Oh, absolutely.
Practice wise as well as coming up.
You can't make no mistake. You can't have no bad practices during that time.
Yeah. So talk to me about, you know, the first time you're about to step on USC against Juju, like, you know, and we are who we are and they are who they are. Like, how did you feel? What was that feeling?
I think still keeping my mindset of being present where I'm at, taking it day by day. I was journaling every day. It's like, okay, how do I feel in this moment? Like, a couple days before, I'm a little anxious because I'm like, okay, like, they've been talking about this game for months, since the end of last season. So it's like, you know, like, it's really hyped up. It's about to be in a big arena. It's about to be sold out. Coach Ivey was telling us they about to have celebrities in there. Next thing I know, I see Snoop Dogg walking in. I'm like, man, this is crazy. So it's like
we looked at each other.
Look, I'm like, they ain't cheering for us because USC ain't out here yet. But, you know, it was just
I think he had on a Juju jersey.
He sure did. Like it was, of course, and it's dope that like you have these big people coming and supporting women's basketball.
Absolutely,
like that
yes.
is so dope to see. But it's like my mindset, I'm like, they're not here for us, so I don't really care. You know, they're not here to watch us win. So, you know, going into that, it was like every day, you know, taking it day by day, practice by practice, just moment by moment. And it's like helping me get to like a peaceful mindset. It's like, okay, I'm ready now. So like when moments came before every game, I journal, you know, how I'm feeling. I'm just praying like, Lord, help me with this game, just to be able to, you know, shine your light, you know, just shine your light through me. And that was really big for me, especially in that moment, because it's like, you know, there's all these fans here, and it's like a lot of the attention is on you, but it's like, Lord, how do I turn this attention from me and give it back to you? So it's like, keeps me humble in that sense. So it's not like, oh, all these fans are here for me, the lights is on me. It's like, okay, I'm here to bring glory to Christ. And so I don't want to say this is all about me, you know, when it's not. And I think kind of having that mindset going into the game was so big for me and helped me, because it's like, however I play, I'm giving it back to Christ, you know. And so it really gave me that peace of like, I'm not doing this for myself or to please anybody else.
Of course.
And I think that really helped me get into all of those top games, you know, because they were all thousands and thousands of people watching the game. And so like having that mentality in those big games were important.
UConn. Well, first of all, we didn't talk about another guy that was there. That was just mesmerizing to our team, was Michael B.
Oh,
Jordan.
yeah, what? He was the biggest one that was mesmerizing to our team.
I walked in, I said, what are y'all doing? Like Michael B. Jordan.
Oh, my God, yo.
But that's just always, I mean, you know, just the human side of it. Obviously,
absolutely.
Celebrities.
You get Star Trek, they in movies. You're like,
course.
yo, this my celebrity crush. It's sitting courtside watching me play.
Right.
You know?
Right. I like that. And then talk about UConn. Obviously, we all was ready for that.
Well, because we had.
They brought their star, their All-Americans back, you know.
My freshman year.
Yes, I'm talking about the freshman year.
Freshman year. Okay. Because we played them 2 times. Both games were big games because they bought their alum on the one time, and we bought our alum.
And
like,
we bought
we're
ours.
going tit for tat.
Yes. Talk about the first one, freshman, yeah.
I think that was second compared to Spain. Like, it was white out everywhere. Everywhere you turn, it was like a white sheet on all the things. It's like, yo, then you got this one little section of color, that's Notre Dame, and it was like, my dad had a yellow sweatshirt on with like a hat. My brother had like a red, like, our fans, our little section was going back with the student section. I said, why would they put them together? Because there was nobody but my family going again, back and forth with these. They cursing them out. My family, it was so crazy. But the atmosphere was wild. It was so crazy. And it was like, at that moment, we were starting to click. Like, you know that big three.
Yes.
That big, like, it was just like starting to click, and everybody was just playing so well together. Like, we went into halftime. Halftime, I hit the little three. And then I'm going to halftime. I'm like, okay, bet. Like, we about to get this. Like, you know, and it's, you know, the expectation, of course, is never for us to win. You know, people weren't expecting us to win, but it's like, we put in that work, and we knew what it was going to take, executed the game plan to a T. You know, Sony, of course, always taking on the big moments and doing what she got to do. But everybody really came to play. But I think that atmosphere is crazy, and I feel like the way the gym was, it was like everybody was sitting on top of you. Like, when I'm on the floor, it was like everybody was here. But they had bought some big alum. DT came up to me after the game and was like, yo, why you do that to my team? And I was like, oh, this is dope. Like, that's cool. You know, that starstruck moment.
Absolutely. I got you. What about playing against Maddie at Texas? I mean, how was that game? Because I know you guys been talking all week. It's back and forth.
What? She texted me when she landed. I said, I know you cold. She not used to that weather. She from Mississippi. She was cold over here. But, you know, before the game, they out there stretching. I step over her. Just, you know, like, this. I'm not about to come in here and upset, because we just come off of a loss.
Yes.
So, like, I don't know. But teams we shouldn't have lost to, it was like, and so the expectation again was low. Like, they didn't expect us to win, because it's like we're not clicking right now. But the way, and that was, I feel like for me, that was one of the toughest games that we had played that season. The way I went into overtime too. Not double overtime, though, right?
It was just overtime.
Just overtime, but
it shouldn't have went to overtime.
It should not have went to overtime, but it was a call that happened that shouldn't have happened. But
yes,
you know, like we, you know, coming to playing, and I feel like last year, like the big games, those big moments, like everybody really stepped up. You know, did what they had to. It's like, and it's so unfortunate because like, and I used to do this when I was younger. Like games where you know you should be blowing teams out. It's like, why are they up 10-0 on us, you know? And it's like, but the big games, it's like we hitting everything. We locked into the assignment we doing what we had to do. And I think for us, especially this year, it's going to be important we start off every game how we should be starting off. Just starting off with that fire, throwing the first punch. We always talk about we got to throw the first punch, but then don't do it, you know, and in the games that we should be doing it. And I think that's going to be really big for us.
Yeah, for sure. And just thinking about, I mean, you taking me back, it's just, it felt so good to actually win those games because we were focused and, like you said, we followed the game plan to a T.
All week during practice.
Yeah, for sure. So, Han, again, I appreciate you coming by so much. I want to ask you this. I know your feet are planted where you are, for sure.
Absolutely.
Dreams and aspirations. You know, you've shared them with me, so I kind of know what that is. But, you know, obviously we have a season to focus on.
Absolutely, yeah.
What does it look like for you, like from a goal standpoint? It could be team, it could be personal, whatever, you know, whatever you're thinking on both sides.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, present where your feet are, but, you know, you can't help but think about the future. You know,
Absolutely.
like what's to come, how the season's going to look, you know, things like that. But I think, for me, I think the biggest intangible is making sure that I'm the best leader for my teammates, you know, and I think, you know, I'm not going to be perfect, of course, but, you know, figuring out quicker how to get to that next play mentality. You know, I was in a shooting slump at practice for the past week, and it's like, okay, how do I get out of that? You know, like, how do I figure this out while still encouraging my teammates, like, okay, great shot, you know, and not just being so focused on myself. I think for that's the biggest thing. So, of course, I want to win. You know, I think that's always the biggest thing for me. You know, I don't want to lose. I'm not going to say I want to win. Because winning, you know, in the moment, you know, happy. But losing, that'll stick with me for a minute. I don't want to lose.
For sure.
But, you know, if or when we do, it's like, okay, like, how do I get to that next play mentality? You know, how do I figure out, you know, how to move on from that and not dwell on it, you know? And I think the biggest goal for me is, you know, making it to the W, you know, and not just making it and, you know, being drafted, but, like, having a career, you know, in the W, doing what I need to do to stay in the W for as long as I possibly can.
For sure. I know that's your ultimate goal. That's where your, you know, where your heart lies, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure that you're ready and you know, just in a solid spot once you get there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. To the children, to the kids that's watching, you know, what type of legacy does Hannah Hidalgo want to leave? What do you want to be remembered as once you leave the game of basketball? Well, starting with college, and then once you have your pro career, what do you want to leave? Leaving Notre Dame.
Yeah, I think I could speak, like, you know, kind of in general. Like, you know, me being a smaller guard, you got so many people that doubt, you know, like, Hannah's not going to be able to do this. Well, first they were saying I wasn't going to be able to do it in the collegiate level. And then they saying I won't be able to do it in the W. But it's like, I want to be able to, I want, you know, younger kids, younger generation to be able, especially smaller guys, to be able to look to me and be like, if she could do it, you know, I could do it. You know, to be the most competitive on the floor. Like, nobody was going to outwork me. And I want kids, so when they look at me and they look at my, you know, college highlights or, you know, W highlights, it's like nobody on the floor is outworking her. You know, you can have bad offensive games, but I feel like you can never have a bad defensive game, you know, whether that's hustling, being in the right spot, you know, or even being a bad, you know, you got to be a good teammate too, picking up your teammates too. And I just want them to be able to kind of see those elements of my game and being able to kind of implement that in their own, that dog, that grit, that competitive mindset, I think is, you know, kind of what I want to leave for younger kids to look into.
Question, what is the dog mentality defensively for you? Like, where did that come from? The tenacity, I don't know, the grit. That's a different level. I look in your eyes and I'm like, Coach, you get her.
Yeah, I feel like I think it just came with being a smaller guard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, I didn't know how to score over, you know, bigger players when I was younger. So it's like, if I want to get on the floor, which I was coming off the bench at a certain point, it's like, if I want to get on the floor, I got to figure out what I got to do differently. Because they're scoring, they shooting threes, they posting up. It's like, how do I get on the floor? And I think for me, it was defensively. Like, I got to get stops. I got to get steals. I got to make them turn the ball over. I got to make them uncomfortable in order to get on the floor. So I'm going to do whatever it takes in order to do that. And I think just being a smaller guard, it comes with it. You know, you got to have a different part to your game. You know, if you're not scoring 40 points as a smaller guard, it's like, okay, you got to be able to be, you know, tenacious on defense.
For sure. Well, Hannah, you know what? I'm so happy that you stopped by.
Absolutely.
To you know, to share your story. It's so inspiring. I talk to people all the time about, you know, just you and your work ethic. I'm very, very proud of you.
Thank you.
And I know that it's difficult being a leader and still staying on top of your game, and, you know, because you almost have to worry about everyone else as well.
Absolutely.
So I just want to commend you, just seeing the determination in you this year. And not saying that you didn't have it last year or the year before. It's just, you know, it's prevalent now. You can see it. You can feel it. You understand exactly where you are. And I want to give you your flowers on that, because I know you got a big year coming.
It is. It's coming.
Yes. Obviously, you know, down the line, we'll do it again.
Yes, sir.
A little
update.
Little update. You have never heard anyone come in and actually guarantee a bucket off the bounce from half court. H3 energetic CMOS. That's what does it, dog. Alright, don't try this at home and don't say I didn't tell you. Y'all know me. Off the bounce! Oh!
For one, work hard. That's the biggest thing. You know, I was always told hard work beats talent when talent fails to work hard. So it's like, you can have all the talent in the world, and, you know, if you don't put the work in, somebody who's in the gym for hours and not going out on weekends and, you know, doing what they got to do, they're going to outwork you. You know, they're going to get better. So I think, for one, you got to be in the gym. You got to work hard. You got to make sacrifices. You know, that's the biggest thing. A lot of sacrificing of time, you know, like things like that is really big. I think having a good foundation, whatever it might be, you know, you got to have a good routine. You know, get down to a routine and, you know, do it every day and, you know, kind of figure that out. I think a foundation is so good, especially in the world around you. I think the last thing might be, like, don't worry about all the noise around you. And that kind of comes with, you know, a solid foundation. But you're going to be pulled in so many different directions. And sometimes you got to make selfish decision of, you know, what's best for you. And whether that's like, I'm going to get off social media, or I'm not going to talk to nobody for, you know, a couple days and, you know, just get myself together. It's important to be able to do that, and you should, because you need that, you know, in order to not be, you know, burnt out and worn out, especially by the end of the season, because it's very toll tasking, and it comes a lot, not just on the body, but mentally too. Absolutely.
Well, Mrs. Hannah Hidalgo, thank you for blessing our platform.
Of course.
All right, see you next time.
I'm a warrior. Anything you place in front of me, I'll be victorious. Straight about the trenches where it's vicious.